Hello again, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of West Side Story. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, as always, I am Malika Ramsey. Today, I am, as usual, on the West Side, right here in Region 3. The last time we met on this very program, we had a conversation with the commander of this division. Of course, that is Commander Leslie James, and he told you about a lot of projects that his team is involved in to ensure that our young people are properly occupied and ensure that they use their energies in positive ways. Now, today it is my pleasure to be right here at the Patentia Secondary School. We're in the school compound actually. Behind me, you can see there's a lot of bush happening. I have the commander, the officer who is in charge of the division, subdivision 2, who will be telling you all about what this project is expected to eventually become. So, of course, this is West Side Story, and I invite you to stay with us for the next 20 minutes or so. I did tell you that it's a wet Tuesday when we're actually recording West Side Story, but it seems that the sun is shining some blessings on us so that we can get through this conversation. Officer Jarmin Dufu, welcome to West Side Story.
Thank you very much.
All right. We're here, I did say earlier that we're here at the Patentia Secondary School, actually in the compound of the Patentia Secondary School. Now, you're seeing a lot of bush behind me, and usually when we're talking about development, you don't necessarily see bush, but the officer in charge of, is it subdivision 2?
Subdivision number 2, D division.
All right. He will tell you all about that and how this project will not only help the students of this school, but youths, I think youths in close by communities in general. Let's talk about what this project really is and what it's intended to do upon completion.
All right. The initial project came about through to a phase of community meeting, or what we call it outreach, by the minister. Several ministers would have came into this community and had an outreach, and one of the issues being brought up by the teachers of the school is the condition of the recreational facility at the school. As a result, I made contact through the estate manager, and we came together with a plan as to the way forward. Now, if you're to take a look at the back, beyond the fence, where the fence is, you will see clearly that was the situation of this ground at the time when we initially would have commenced the project. What we would have done so far on this ground, there were several large trees and shrubs and so on that we would have the root taken out from the ground and gotten rid of. We would have also started with the plowing of the ground because there were some very large holes which would have, after neglect over a certain period, animals and so on would have created holes. So there was some plowing, harrowing. What would have occurred when we would have tried to commence the part with the rolling and the smoothing of the ground, the rain had started falling.
Okay.
So this is the reason why the ground is in the condition that you see it now. Because the rain would have commenced and you don't want to take the heavy machinery onto the ground, it would be more detrimental to the ground than it can do good.
Okay. All right, viewers, I must pause here. What I can also advise you is that as we speak, on screen you will soon see some photographs of what the area looked like. Of course, the officer did explain what it looked like, but you'll actually have photographs of what the area looked like before the transformation start.
Yeah. After we would have done some work, myself and the other persons involved, we would have made contact with the administrators and the staff of the school, where we indicated on the completion of the ground project to have an in-depth analysis of the way forward, and a committee is to be formed in dealing with the maintenance of the ground. One of the proposals that we would have had so far is that we plan to do a fundraiser, because we know many times with these projects, persons come in, give their assistance, and within a 3-4 month period they withdraw. And as a result of that, you find that the ground goes back, or whatever project would have been completed, goes back to the stage that it was initially in. The fundraiser that we planned is to raise funds so we can buy equipment for the maintenance of the ground, so that even if I'm not around or the other persons involved is not around, the school can still maintain the ground in a manner which the children can use, for recreational purposes, keep them out from crime and keep them away from all the other social ills of the community.
All right. Indeed, that is a mouthful indeed. You did explain, and viewers, you heard it. The reason that the work paused was because the rain started falling. Of course, you know we're in the May, June rainy season, and sometimes tropical storms in other parts of the Caribbean and so on affect us. Apart from that, what is the timeline you're looking at, not only to get fully started, but in terms of completion?
Well, at this time, when we initially started, we thought that at this time we would have already completed, but as a result of the rain, we would have stopped. So we cannot predict when the rain will stop falling, but we are looking like probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks exactly after rain would have completed. Well, if the rain stops falling within a week, we suspect that after 2 weeks after that, we should be up and running to the position that we want to be at. That is where we will put up all the other facilities like the water fountain, a small water pipe where persons can go and have water to wash off their clothes. We would have relocated the furnace that the school would have had. The estate is now endeavoring building a complete furnace for the school, which will be placed at the back, so that the play field would not have any hindrances to the children playing and you know what I mean, having their recreational sports and so on.
Okay. And finally, Officer Dufu, with anything in life, there's always the issue of wear and tear. Do you yet have an idea of how the condition of the ground and so on upon completion, how it will be maintained to, to keep a high standards and to keep it friendly and inviting for young people especially?
Well, I don't know. I don't think my commander has been aware of this, but I had a proper conversation with the REO for region number 3, and he would have indicated his complete support behind the project. And on completion, he would have his equipment come across and weed it on a regular basis. We also, the fundraiser that I spoke of earlier, that would be in the purpose of buying equipment like, for example, a weeding machine, things like hoe, shovels and so on, and the school children now can play a part both as agricultural purposes in maintenance of the ground and as a part of keeping themselves fit in a physical condition, in the weeding, the raking up of the grass and so on. Of course, the police is always here, and we will also do our part as it becomes necessary. So the ground wouldn't be left unattended.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you so very much, Officer Dufu. It's certainly been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Ms.
All right, great. Viewers, of course, this is West Side Story. Stay tuned. Coming up a little later on, I'll tell you how a counselor you met at the beginning of West Side Story, that may have been 2 years ago or so. Her name is Sherry Gold, and she's responsible for several communities in this region, in this division actually. I'll tell you how she's making strides to continue to make her contribution to this community. Of course, this is West Side Story. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us here on West Side Story. Earlier, I did promise you that coming up later on the program, we'll be talking to a young lady who has contributed to this community and who continues to make her contribution in a very big way, as she was recently appointed a very new and significant position. But before we talk to that young lady, we are currently here in Parfaite Harmony. Of course, this is also on the west side for those of you who are not familiar with Region 3 and the west side and so on. We're here in Parfaite Harmony. I think it's phase 2. I have 2 residents here of the community who would have been complaining for some time now. Of course, you know the day when we usually record West Side Stories on a Tuesday, and most people are out at work and so on. So we did not get the entire community to come out and speak with you. But their complaint is the fact that the road has been in a very deplorable state for some time now. You'll hear from those residents, and of course, as we speak to you, you can see on camera the difficulty with getting in and out of the roads in this very community. So now I'll speak with 2 residents of the community, and they'll tell you how difficult it really is to get in and out of here. I'm here with these 2 residents who basically, because they live in the area, they experience it every day. And I did tell you at the beginning of this edition of West Side Story that it's a very rainy Tuesday. So you imagine when the rain falls, the situation gets worse. Welcome to you both for West Side Story. Of course, thank you very much for taking the time off to talk with us. Let's talk about what's happening in this community in terms of getting in and out.
Well, like you said, especially when the rain falls, it's really bad. My husband works, so shift, So sometimes we have to walk out and catch bus. So that would be the most difficult part of it.
Yeah, well, in terms of your vehicle and the whole, after the rain through all of this water and then you got water seep into your bearings, it causing you a lot. A lot of people got mortgage to pay. It's a heavy burden to keep the car going as well as getting your bills. So it's a tough situation we're dealing with.
Okay. Has this ever been reported, and have you had officials from the region come in to see what's happening? Have you been given any feedback at all?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay.
None whatsoever.
All right. And I know you're a mother. How difficult it is for the children traversing the area?
Yeah, well, we have to walk out most times with the slippers or something, and then you get to put on the shoes outside. And it's really difficult, man, you know.
But not to add insult.
Early in the morning, we leave like sometime 5:45, 6 o'clock. We leave in the morning.
Sometimes it is be dark. You really can't see if they got any place. We know got a lot of snakes because it was a cane field area. It's dangerous for the children too as well. But like everything else, you got to do what you have to do. Yeah.
Not to add insult to injury, because obviously everyone knows, Guyana knows that Parfaite Harmony is still a developing scheme. Of course, people are building their homes and so on. Would it be, would heavy duty machinery be partly responsible for what's happening? And at this point, I'd like to pause so our cameraman can see a vehicle is coming. And this would actually give a live example of the kind of maneuvering. And for people with vehicles and people who drive, it's, you know, you can see how difficult it really and truly is. And I'm just going to step across here and continue talking to this resident, because yes, I was asking you about if you believe that, you know, the heavy duty machinery and so on in and out would have contributed to the state that the roads are in now.
Yes, it could be a factor because now if the foundation of the road is not fit for the weight of the vehicle, it's obviously going to give away, especially when water seep and get through to the loom that I got at the bottom. Is obviously going to be loosening up. So the heavy vehicles can be a contributing factor as well as if the road didn't do properly, most likely can deteriorate in a shorter period of time. Because they got roads that build in South Rumville and all these areas, we know that last for 30 years and over.
Okay.
And I mean, this might be a case of, you know, engineering, some flaw in the design of the road or what the case might be.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Thank you. But before we wrap up our conversation, because I just wanted to be clear, exactly in its simplest terms, what are you calling on the region, and possibly because I am made to understand that some of the communities here, for whatever reason, they still fall under the Department of Housing, not necessarily yet the NDC. So just for clarity, specifically, what are you calling on government and by extension the region to be done almost immediately?
Well, see how they can fix this situation for us as early as possible, because, I mean, the whole idea is damaging your vehicle and you got to be spending money unnecessary, and there's other bills there to pay, like I've mentioned before. So, you know, that just ease the burden off of your back a bit by just getting the road proper in such a way that it won't damage the cars.
Okay. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Unfortunately, this situation is happening in so many parts of our country, but I can tell you West Side Story did make contact with the Department of Housing, and they're calling for the residents of this community and so many other communities to be as patient as you possibly can, since help is on the way. I'm also told by an official in the region that the possibility exists that this community, the roads in this community, can possibly be graded. Of course, we know that is just a temporary result. Obviously, this is the May-June rainy season and nothing can happen immediately. So we'll have to wait until it stops raining, the water runs off, and there is some amount of drying for it to actually be graded. But West Side Story will certainly keep you posted on what is happening in this community right here on the West Side. Again, the Department of Housing and of course also this region is calling on the residents of this community to be as patient as they possibly can, but they do in fact understand the plight. This is West Side Story. We will wrap up in a moment or two with that young lady who will talk about how she is contributing to bettering specific communities right here on the West Side. Well, it's almost wrap up time this week here on West Side Story. I have been promising you this all along, and she is here holding up her certificate. I'll let her tell you a little about that certificate. And viewers, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. She's honestly and actually a little nervous. Some of you probably remember Sherry Gold from the first edition of West Side Story, which would have been about 2 years ago. And we introduced her and explained that she was one of the APNU AFC councillors serving this region in Region 3, parts of this region, right here on the west side. Sherry Gold was a few hours ago, this would have been today, Tuesday, when we were recording West Side Story. She was sworn in as a Justice of the Peace. Sherry will tell you exactly what she will be doing, and basically not much, because we're trying to reduce some of the pressure that she's currently feeling from being on camera. She'll just tell you a little bit about how she feels as in terms of undertaking this new role in her life. Sherry Gold, welcome back to West Side Story, and congratulations from all of us.
Thank you very much.
How do you feel? This is new for you. How do you feel about this new post?
Yes, well, Malika, I have always been motivated to serve the people in my community and by extension the country. Today I'm wearing 2 caps, that of a regional councillor and the Justice of Peace affidavit to Commissioner of Oath.
Okay. Thank you so very much. There you have it. Sherry Gold, our new Justice of the Peace. And I'm so proud of her. You know, I am pro-youth, pro-APNU AFC, pro-government, and of course, I am pro-woman. And on that note, I wrap up this edition of West Side Story. As always, thank you very much for joining us. Join me again for another edition. I am Malika Ramsey, and this has been West Side Story. Goodbye.